Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 81 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 4. If you guys did miss the previous one, uploaded quite a fair few days ago now, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, of course, in January, taking things a little bit easier, so there have been a few gaps between uploads and videos, but we're here finally at Suzuka for the Japanese GP in Season 4. Of course, no upgrades to talk about. We're at this point in the season now where we're literally just saving resource points for the R&D reset. We now know that's going to be there for the engine and the aero side, so we need to save as many points as we can. I mean, even, getting to 6,000 points sounds like a lot of points, but in reality, that's still not going to scratch the surface of saving so much, and obviously don't want to have Mercedes be in a high and dry position at the end of the season, depending on, what I do in terms of moving teams or staying here, but either way, I want to make sure that we try and adapt as much as we can, basically, for the Silver Arrows here. But first and foremost, obviously, we're concentrating on the championship, and last episode was a less than ideal one for the entire team. Myself and Hamilton both had a pretty disastrous race, and it means that Pierre Gasly now is in the driving seat and the lead of the championship, and Red Bull look to be the favourites for the constructors, unless myself and Hamilton can turn things around this episode and kind of get the momentum back away from Red Bull, essentially, that they've been building over the last few episodes. So let's get into qualifying. Then it's going to be some rain forecast for Sunday, which might make things a little bit annoying for us, more than anything, really. We'll have to see about that. It's going to be all dry, though, on Saturday. Let's just try and do the best job we can over one lap here and see if myself and Hamilton can try and get towards the front end of the field. Let's go to Saturday.
Welcome to Japan and the impressive Suzuka track for today's qualifying session, where we should be underway shortly. Looking at this field today, Anthony, do you think we're going to see anyone take a chance? Maybe run the hard tyres and save some of the grippier tyres for the race tomorrow?
Well, I'd be surprised in all honesty. It's only the front runners that really have the pace to get away with that, and even then, at the end of the day, it's a big risk. Track position is the most important thing, and it's rarely worth sacrificing for a slightly more optimal strategy in the race, so I doubt we're going to see anyone trying it. I have been wrong before though. We certainly do see some risky decisions every now and then, and it's a gamble that's sometimes worth taking. But if it were me in the car, I would want to be on the fastest tyre for my qualifying lap, without a doubt.
Right, so going to Saturday, like I said, all sunny skies here, so into our first flying lap of Q1. The car feeling very stiff indeed. You can see on the exit there, the car not wanting to really respond too much to the left and right as well through the S section. Usually, obviously, letting the car roll through and kind of have the engine braking do the kind of job the brakes normally would. But the car, like Russia, feeling a little bit unresponsive there. So across the line, in the end, we do get through into the second part of qualifying, but it is very fine margins there. And you can see we've got a lot of time to gain to try and catch up to Hamilton, who does the job there, fastest of all in Q1, and we just get through ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi and behind Valtteri Bottas and the other Toro Rosso. So hoping to gain some more time in Q2. The car felt a little bit quicker in Q2, so maybe the car just kind of rubbering in, the track rubbering in per se, and the car kind of building some confidence basically. Obviously, it's the first time actually I think I've come to Suzuka with a fully maxed out car, because I think Season 3 I think we had a maxed out car with the Toro Rosso, of course, but I think the Mercedes car is even more maxed out, higher than the Toro Rosso. So it's just kind of trying to find that kind of limit and find that edge of where you can go with these cars in terms of how much downforce they have and the engine power and such. But we get through into Q3, that's the only thing that really matters. But we've got about 7.5 tenths to find to Hamilton there to first place. So still, that's a lot of time. But saying that, we're still 6th place. So the car's not too bad. I'm not too bad in terms of the top 10 shootout. It's just the fact that the difference between myself and Hamilton seems quite large. And there seems to be quite a gulf between about P5 to P1, where the Red Bulls are kind of operating there as well, which they're pretty close to Hamilton. But we go through into the first final lap then of Q3, and it's not too great lap time, to be honest. I think that's even slower than the one we did in Q2, so having to improve definitely for sure on the second fly, getting about 1.5 tenths in the first sector alone. Across the line, about 4.5 tenths gained on that second run in Q3. It'll be a good enough one to put us up into the second row of the grid in third place there, but Hamilton will be the one that once again does the job over one lap to get pole position. Gasly, my championship rival, in second place and now qualifies us, so does a decent job. Surprised though to see his teammate Devin Butler down in P6 there. I thought it was going to be a checkerboard of Red Bulls, but alas, it wasn't to be. But that is at least okay news for us. It would have been better, obviously, if we could try and lock out the front row and get ahead of Gasly, but our old favourite championship rival of ours doing the job there in second place. Obviously, he leads the championship, so he's in a good position there for him. So we're going to have to try and overtake him on track, and that's going to be easier said than done, of course, because it is going to be raining entertaining tomorrow, which is going to make the race a little bit less entertaining than I was kind of hoping for here at Suzuka with the F1 game. But obviously, in career mode, you're given the weather you're given, and you can't really change it at all. So we just have to try and do the best job we can, and maybe pray we can get Gasly early on lap 1 maybe. I think that's maybe the best bet, because I think later on he's just going to get faster. The AI are going to get faster and faster as we go on through that race. So pray we can do an early overtake basically. But let's go to the grid and see if there's any penalties maybe to help us out as well, and go to Sunday.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at a wet and windy Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with Sector 1 likely to prove especially difficult in these conditions. We should see overtaking into turns 1 and 16 today, and maybe a few Kobayashi-style dives into the hairpin as well. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, can I talk to you about Pierre Gasly? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and the engineer completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Devon Butler and Faber, Russell, Perez, Norris and Valtteri Bottas. Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ricciardo, Antonio Giovinazzi and Grosjean. Raikkonen, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat and Sebastian Vettel. Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So the F1 gods are feeling a little bit kind to us then today, as Pierre Gasly gets a grid penalty and goes down the order outside the top 10. He will begin this race then, and so that's really great news for us then. So that it makes our life a little bit easier in terms of outscoring him. So hopefully he can basically stay put down there, and I can stay put up here, and just automatically we'll gain a decent amount of points here. So don't need to worry too much then about overtaking anyone really, apart from kind of surviving the opening lap and hopefully not losing too many positions on the start. Obviously we know the AI are going to be very good in the wet on the opening lap, so really it's a case of can I try and keep up with Hamilton on the opening lap. But it's now a front row lockout for Mercedes, so I had no idea that was going to be the case. So let's try and make the most of it then, as we now go towards then 5 red lights to the Japanese Grand Prix. From second place on the grid, my team at Hamilton on the left on pole position. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. Initially a really a great getaway there for us in the wet, but then we really bogged down quite a fair bit, to the point where Leclerc and Verstappen overtake me round the outside there. Was very surprised at that, and kind of just shell-shocked at the pace they had down into turn 1, and so they go side by side now. Verstappen squeezes them out, and so he's up into second place. Leclerc in third. The two Toro Rossos looking very strong this race. They have been in general as of late, really, but they're looking particularly strong this episode. Actually, my bad, that's Devon Butler behind me, the first of the 2 Red Bulls, of course, as now Gasly is outside the top 10 there, but you know what I mean, the Red Bull family in general have been looking stronger in the last few episodes. But we are now down to 4th place and trying to close back up to Leclerc. To be fair, he's looking a bit slow now as we go through this next right-hander, having to actually lift off there and kind of go a little bit easier than I wanted to through that right-hander, because otherwise I was going to hit the back of Leclerc. So I think we have a chance to re-overtake for 3rd place here, but already Hamilton is getting away, and unfortunately I can already kind of tell that maybe Verstappen is also going to check out of this Grand Prix. So it's kind of a classic thing on this game. Unfortunately, you know, the opening lap, like I said, is kind of treacherous, and sometimes if the AI get you, you know, if you don't get them back early enough, then that's pretty much it. So we're trying to do just that with Leclerc, but I think that'll be then basically it for the rest of the Grand Prix, unfortunately, as we go now for a move maybe in a straight line, close up, obviously no DRS, just pure slipstream down the inside, lifting off through 130, although we make the move and we're up into 3-3 of the Japanese Grand Prix. So great little overtake there, but like I said, unfortunately, I think that may be the biggest bit of action we get this entire Grand Prix, sadly, because Hamilton is already getting away. Verstappen's already pulled a massive gap, I mean 2.1 on the opening lap is really quite huge. I know we're battling with Leclerc and such, but still, as now Leclerc goes a little bit defensive there, I think it was, with Devin Butler, and yellow flags behind as I nearly go wide. Yellow flags behind, so a bit of a treacherous situation into turn 1 for the AI as we now move through into lap number 3, and once again having to take turn 1 a little bit cautious, and again it's yellow flags behind me for some sort of kerfuffle with the AI there. At the moment Leclerc stays put in P4, but Devin Butler has been pretty close to him, as well as Sergio Perez in the McLaren. We haven't seen too much of the McLarens as of late in the few episodes. You know, they were the ones looking pretty good and comfortable to maybe dominate a bit of the season in the middle stage of this this career mode, but as of late they've really not been there. But I think Perez is close behind Leclerc, but you can see there we've got a bit of a gap forming behind Leclerc. So I mean, Perez is there, but obviously he's still going to catch up to us. But if you look even further up on the mini-map there, Hamilton's got an even bigger gap to us now, to Verstappen and then myself. And then the gap from myself to Verstappen is about a good 5 seconds or something like that at least. That's literally been gained in one lap, of course, from lap 2 to lap 3, and then Hamilton's got a further 2 seconds on Verstappen here. So really, it's going to be a miracle if I can try and catch up and try and match my teammate any kind of sort. But obviously, the last few episodes, we've known my teammate to be very, very unlucky in the races. So let's hold our breath in terms of what result he could get. But as we move on to lap number 5, Leclerc now comes knocking, and Sergio Perez is there as well. So they both caught up in a flash here in 2 laps there. Leclerc goes round my outside. We go very defensive, a little bit of contact made, and now Perez and Leclerc are nearly side by side. Perez had a little look down the inside, but thought better of it, and so he tucks in instead for P5 there. But we live to fight another day and just about defend our position in P3. But unfortunately, this will be our race from now on. It won't be looking forwards, it will be looking backwards now, because AI are so consistent in the wet conditions, especially these kind of wet conditions, where it was so awkward, because at the very start it definitely felt like it was wet enough for intermediates, but as we went on through the laps, it basically just slowed down in terms of the rain. It didn't rain as hard as it was in the opening laps, and so now I feel like almost we're in that transition where it was just a little bit drier. We could probably go to slick tyres, but it's still damp enough for the intermediate, so it's a very awkward position for us to be in, and the AI love these conditions because they're so good on traction out of every corner, these kind of conditions. So it's rather annoying for me, really. And you can see there, as we went through 130R, my front tyres were overheating slightly. The internal carcass temperature was getting a little bit too hot, so that's also a bother because it's so hard to try and bring in. Although saying that, ironically, on the very next lap, lap 13, I don't know, I guess the tyres overheating spurred me to concentrate harder, because I go ahead and set my personal best lap time on lap 14 as we now go down the main straight. There's a car coming out. It's Verstappen. He's made his first pit stop already, so we go down the inside of the Dutchman and overtake him there, and we're up into second place now. So it's a 1-2 for Mercedes, albeit short-lived, because of course Hamilton has to pit, I have to pit, and Verstappen is already pit. That's the only reason we've overtaken him there. So that was the massive gap, really. I almost didn't get him, so he almost had a whole pit stop on me. That's how slow I was going compared to him in that kind of first stint basing. So on lap 14, we now come in for our pit stop here onto another set of intermediates. But yeah, it's been a rather frustrating GP, I can't lie. Even more so than Russia. Like, Russia was annoying because obviously we had the early crash, and so we just had to try and recover as best we could, but we're so far back, it was kind of a moot effort, if you will, in terms of trying to get some points. But this one was kind of more annoying in a sense of, yeah, we're going to get some good points, and I think we should actually probably re-overtake Gasly in the championship, because I think he's stuck in the lower points paying positions, because it's for the AI also very difficult to overtake. But it's just frustrating not to actually have some actual racing basically possibilities, essentially, because I just know that it's very tough to overtake the AI once they get in the groove. So you can see here we're going down the inside of Lando Norris. We've been overtaken by Sergio Perez and Leclerc in this entire situation there, so they've got a great undercut on us, and we actually had done really well to overtake Norris there, who did also get the undercut jump on us. So that was quite a crucial overtake just to get P5 back there. But we've lost 2 positions in the pit stop phases. But as you move through to lap 18, Sergio Perez has an engine failure right in front of us there. We have to take a little bit of evasive action and make sure we don't hit the back of him, otherwise that could have been a calamity for us. But no, here's an engine failure right in front of our eyes there, so he's out of the Japanese Grand Prix, and so he gifts us P4 there, and that's a gift we need, basically, because if Gasly is just outside the points per positions, that's a good load of points for us to get, obviously, in terms of that's, 15 points rather than 12 points for P5 to P4 now. But Leclerc has well and truly got us here. You can see in the minimap where his dot is. He's a good few seconds ahead of us, and like was the case in stint 1, basically, I won't be able to catch back up to him because unfortunately they're so consistent now. Even though I kept Leclerc at bay previously, now he's in clean air, he's not behind me, he's able to keep keep me at bay, basically, keep me at an arm's length. So now the job for us is to try and solidify P4 and try and stay ahead of Lando Norris, who does actually get overtaken by Devon Butler there. So the Red Bull looking a little bit punchy there. But we got yellow flags. I think they might have made some contact there. There's been some more contact for some other AI cars into turn one. You can see there's some cars going slowly on the mini-map there, and there's a massive train actually behind Devon Butler there forming. So it's all rather close to the midfield, such as the field spread. But there goes Hamilton, setting the fast lap of the Grand Prix and crossing the line already to win the Japanese Grand Prix. To be fair, he's deserved it. He's had so much bad luck with reliability issues in the last few episodes, so he's deserved to at least dominate one Grand Prix eventually like this again. And so he goes on to win the Japanese Grand Prix, and we're going to come through for P4. It's been a bit of a weird Grand Prix because I don't feel like we've really truly earned P4, but at the same time we were P3 actually. We lost the positions and then gained back a free one. So we've got to take it though. We've got to take these ones because it's a free kind of race for us in terms of Gasly got hit with an engine penalty, and if it wasn't for that, then I think we would have had a major issue trying to overtake Gasly in the race, really. So I will very much take this and take some good points in the championship.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
And in the end, I was correct. Pierre Gasly had a massive struggle even overtaking cars in his Red Bull there, and he finished outside the top 10. So we retake the lead of the Drivers' Championship by 2 measly points. So it is all very, very close indeed between myself and Pierre Gasly there. But that's a massive swing, remember. I think the gap was, what was it? I think 12 or 10? I think it was 10 points between myself and Gasly. So a massive swing for us here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And right before the Mexican Grand Prix next episode, which should be pretty good for our car in a straight line, of course. And I think a little bit less of an issue maybe for us versus the AI. Just hope that it doesn't rain. If it rains in Mexico again, that's going to be another very tough Grand Prix for us. Really, all the episodes coming up, really. Mexico, Brazil, USA, all of them. If there's some rain involved, it's going to be very tough. They're going to be all very tough races for us in the wet, let alone the dry, really, as well, against the AI. But at least we take the lead in this episode then, and kind of have that going into the Mexican GP. We kind of break the momentum that Red Bull and Gasly had. So guys, if you did enjoy the episode, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you aren't new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.